Hi guys, I'm Mo, and today I'll be talking to you about a really budget option for a telephoto lens so that you don't have to go out and spend $12,000 on a 600mm lens from Canon. Stay tuned. Now, obviously, this budget lens that I'm going to talk to you guys about is nowhere near in quality as the $12,000 Canon lens. But see, I've had this obsession for the longest time, for as long as I've been doing photography, to get one good shot of the moon, not just take a really crappy or really good shot that's far away and then have to crop it into hell. And then one day I was doing what I do best, which is go on eBay and just literally type the word lens and just filter by auction ending soonest, just to see what deals are out there. I came across this lens, the Opteka 420 to 1600mm lens. It's a fully manual lens. The aperture is variable. It goes from 8 to 16, so you don't really control the aperture. It depends on how far you're zoomed in or out. And it comes with a 2x teleconverter, and it only costs $170. And actually, I did not buy it from eBay. I bought it from Amazon so that I can have the warranty. Just in case it's terrible, I have the option of returning it. So I'm gonna test it out today, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about this lens, see maybe if it's worth you buying it or not. Let's do it. Woo-wee. So I saw a couple of versions of this lens. Some of them came black, some of them came white, some of them are called Opteka, or some of them are called another V name. From what I've read online, they're all the same exact lens. It's just marketed with different names. Pretty much it's a T2 lens, which means that it screws on and it comes with an adapter for the camera that you're using. I bought the one that works with the Canon adapter because I have two Canon cameras, but I'm sure you can get the adapters for the other lenses as well. So here it is. This is the T-mount for the Canon adapter. Oh, this must be the 2x teleconverter. And last but not least, the lens itself. It's a beast, 4.4 pounds. This is a weapon. So it is fully metal. And it comes with obviously a tripod mount because you cannot just hook your camera up to the tripod. You would have to hook the lens to the tripod and then your camera goes on the other side. This little knob right here, if you open it, it allows you to move the plate around the lens so that you can either shoot with it vertically or horizontally on your camera. If you're gonna be just using the lens with the camera straight away, you would just screw on the adapter back here. But if you're gonna be using the teleconverter, then the teleconverter goes on first and then the adapter and then your camera. It is fully metal, like I said, including the lens hood. It's really neat. Actually, the lens hood screws on. Let me show you what the element looks like. So this is the lens. The lens hood is actually, it's a screw on, which is great. You can work with or without. Oh, actually you can't screw the lens hood on. I mean, you can't screw the cap on unless you have the lens hood attached. I don't recommend you drop this lens anyways because it's pretty cheap, but if you maybe hit it against your tripod by accident or something, you're protected. Now, when it comes to the zooming in and zooming out, this thing here, you open it to zoom out, and then you lock it. I apologize, I said 420 to 1600. It's actually 650 to 1300. And it is clearly marked for you right here. And technically 1650 times 2 is 1300 and 1300 times 2 is 2600. So with the 2x teleconverter, this can become really 650 to 2600. And as you see here, the aperture says from 8 to 16. And obviously as you zoom out, the aperture increases. And of course, if you use the 2x teleconverter, you would have to also multiply your aperture by 2. This is a fully manual lens. You would have to focus it manually, but wow, this is really surprising. I would imagine that there's a lot of travel distance from the focus. It's not even a quarter of the way. I think it's a bad thing because it'll be really hard to adjust the focus ring to get that tack sharp image. You'll notice that it says F00 because actually there are no connections going from the camera to the lens. There are no actual metal connections at all. It's just the camera is just kind of screwed onto the lens. But you will know what aperture you're using because it's clearly marked here. The ISO, obviously you're able to control, the shutter speed you're able to control, and the focal length you're able to control. So let's see what this looks like. Ooh, that's ugly. This is at 600. You could really tell what I mean when I say that it's really hard to control the focus ring. So, and obviously if you change the focal length from maybe 650 to 1300, you also need to change the focus ring. I want to show you guys how far we are right now. This tree that you're seeing is right there. Here's a green one in the back. So yesterday after the house, I took the lens out to see what I could do with it outdoors. The first thing I did was actually go to the bay. I was able to capture Kingsborough Community College at 650, 1300, and 2600. The image is usable, I guess, but it's not that tack sharp. It's not that great, to be honest with you. Here is a video to show how far back I was actually. This is at 24 and this is at 100. I found a bridge that was really far off. I did not bother shooting at 650. I just did 1300 and 2600. And notice how when we're at 100 using my camera and now we're at 24, you can't see anything. You could even barely see the bridge. But now that we're zoomed in at 1300, you can actually start to see cars. And at 2600, you actually start to see people. I think I see a lady walking with her child on a stroller. It's pretty cool, but it's not, you know, it's not great. Finally, I looked across the bay. Here's how far I was. And I saw a guy jogging. If I was that guy's cousin, maybe I can tell who he is, but in reality, I really can't tell who this guy is. The images are not that sharp. And here are a couple, the guy is wearing red, so it's easier for me to be able to track him. Really, if I was like a private investigator, this lens would be perfect for me. But other than that, there is really no details in the images whatsoever. So today is day 2 and I decided to come to Battery Park here in Manhattan and I'm gonna take some pictures of the Statue of Liberty because I did notice that yesterday the best images that I got were of the sign of Kingsborough Community College. That's because it was a building that actually wasn't moving and nobody was moving, so I was able to kind of do my best with it. So I'm gonna do the same thing with Lady Liberty back here. I'll see what I could do. She's gonna be standing still for me while I take that picture, so we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to give this lens the benefit of the doubt and give it every chance that I could and take you guys along with me on the journey. All right, let's get this show on the road. So we're across the bay right now. This is how far we are. We're at 24 millimeters and this is 100, all right? So the issue that I'm having right now is actually the wind. Every time I focus it, this is at 650 by the way, every time I focus it, what happens is the wind comes and it moves it and then it's gone. All right, so that was at 650, 320 ISO, 500 shutter speed. Now let's try 1300. Now this is at 1300. That was the picture at 1300. Gonna take a vertical one just for laughs and giggles. Gonna increase the shutter speed a little bit. All right. So finally, I'm gonna take one with the 2x teleconverter. Don't forget, first is actually the lens and then the teleconverter and then finally the adapter and then your camera goes on. So now we're at 2600. It's literally almost impossible to focus this thing. I think it's focused, so let's see. After I was done shooting, I looked to my left and there was a guy using the Canon 100 to 400, a $2,000 lens. Just found that interesting. We were both shooting the same exact thing. I was using a $200 lens and he was using a $2,000 lens. Pretty sure he got sharper images though. So it was pretty cloudy here in New York for a couple of days. Finally, after a week, the moon appeared. I set up the tripod. I was lucky enough to have the moon literally right outside my living room window. I set it up, used my 6D Mark II. Here's how far the moon was at 24, and here it is at 100. So the first picture I took was at 650 millimeters. I tried to lower my ISO as much as humanly possible so that I don't have a lot of noise. And because I got lucky and I was able to shoot indoors, I wasn't too worried about the wind. And since the camera was on a tripod, I lowered my shutter speed below the recommended. So if I was at 650, it's recommended for me not to shoot below 650. I went way under that so that I can expose the moon properly. However, when I zoomed in at 1300 and 2600, as you see in the picture right now, the moon was moving, and I originally thought that was the tripod. However, that wasn't actually the tripod that was moving, it was the moon. So here's the picture at 650. And here's the picture at 1300. And finally, here's the picture at 2600. So, final thoughts. On the way home from the city, I took the Staten Island ferry and I was able to shoot this picture of the Statue of Liberty using my 24-105 L lens, cropped it in a bit just to get this beautiful picture image. Yes, it's not as tight as the original one that I took with the 650 millimeter. However, you can really see the detail, you can see the color, you can see these beautiful colors. And here's a vertical one. Compare that against the picture I took with the 2600 millimeter. And here are my moon shots again. I'm a little happy that I was able to get some kind of shots of the moon. I haven't been able to do that before, but honestly, I'm left right now with this thought in my head: is it better to get this lens or use this lens and get pretty soft images, or is it better to use my 100 or maybe 75 to 300 millimeter lens and just crop in a little bit to get the desired image? Because these images that I'm getting from this Opteka lens are so soft that it's practically the same thing, or even a little bit worse than getting a really far away image and cropping it in. Do I recommend this lens? I honestly don't think so. I'm going to be returning this lens myself. For now, I'm going to be using my 24-105 and 75 to 300 and try to crop in a little bit to get whatever shots that I need of the moon or things that are that far away. And I'm going to be using those lenses until I save up enough money to get maybe the Sigma 150 to 600 and maybe a 2x teleconverter, because that would definitely be a much sharper option than this current lens right here. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave it in the comment section down below. If you learned anything new today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do a ton of videos like this, whether it's cameras or lenses or computers. Until next time, peace!